Hi, my name is Marty Shankman. This is Elvis, and this is a video series entitled Elvis Does Estate Planning. Hi, my name is Marty Shankman. Yes, I'll introduce you. This is Elvis, and this is a video series called Elvis Does Estate Planning. This segment is what is a living will. We want to explain in practical terms what a living will is and give you some ideas so that you can handle this important part of your planning in an appropriate manner. A living will is a legal document that you sign that is a statement of your health care wishes. Bear in mind that even though I said it's a legal document, a living will is not accepted or respected in a number of states. In many states you're going to need, and frankly in all states you probably want, another document that's called a health care proxy or medical directive in which you designate an agent, a person, to make health care decisions for you. And there's going to be another video clip on that topic. But in this one we're going to talk just about living wills, but it's important you understand the relationship between them. The living will is a statement of your medical wishes. Even if it's not respected under your state's laws, you really don't know where you're going to get sick. You don't know which of your agents may be in the position to make decisions, because if you've listened to some of our other video clips, we've always cautioned you that if you name an agent, you want to name many successor agents, at least 2 or 3. So if your first named healthcare agent can't make a decision, your second or third one as successor agents will step in. Those people all need to understand what it is you want. And the way you communicate that formally to them is a living will. So again, even if it's not respected under your state's laws, it's a great document to have, because even though you may think your spouse, your aunt, your cousin, or whoever you've named really understands what you want for end-of-life decisions, don't assume that they do. And everybody has, I'm sure, seen or heard of the terrible tragedy that befell Terry Schiavo and her family. If you can document your wishes, that's a long way, a great step to prevent your family from going through the nightmare that they all did. And I'm not making any value judgments or statements. Everybody suffered. So take it upon yourself to do a living will. Now let's talk a little about what the living will should include. The most important message is it's not just about pulling the plug. Most standard forms and most people seem to think that a living will basically says, listen, if I have a terminal illness, pull the plug. I don't want any heroic measures. That's a very, very dangerous and almost silly assumption. First of all, you want to deal with a lot more issues than just pulling the plug. What about funeral, burial? There's a whole range of end-of-life decision-making, which is important. And most documents simply don't address that. Hospice care, companion care, do you want to live in your home? Do you prefer to be in a facility? There's a lot of personal issues that you need to take a close personal look at, heartfelt look at, and communicate so that you don't leave the difficulty of those tough decisions for your heirs. Now, another thing to consider in doing your living will, and it's important to consider however you feel, and again, we're not trying to make value judgments, just inform you, are religious considerations. If your family is very devout, whatever your faith may be, but you don't share those devout beliefs, you need to communicate in your living will, although I grew up as, and I don't want to name any particular religion because it applies to any, I do not hold those beliefs and I do not want medical decisions contingent upon those beliefs. On the other hand, if you do have particular religious beliefs and you don't address them in the living will, you could be doing a horrible disservice to you and your family. I've seen tremendous heartache where families fight over religious issues because it's not been addressed. And the very public scenario with the Terry Schiavo family is not rare at all. It continues to happen. People have not learned the lesson. Now, if you're going to address religious issues in the affirmative by saying you want your document and the end-of-life medical decision-making to conform to religious beliefs, you really need to not only talk to your lawyer, but you really should also talk to your religious advisor, because the decisions are not simple. Most religions continue to grapple with the difficulty of dealing with modern technology, modern medical developments, and how they need to be addressed. So that's important to do. One of the most critical decisions in setting up your living will is not just the technicalities and issues that we've talked about, but who you name as your agent. Depending on who you name as your agent, your wishes may or may not be carried out. A lot of people take the mistaken view of saying, gee, I'm going to name my children. Well, that may be fine, but think about the emotional burden. Even an adult child, an emotional burden of saying, I'm going to pull the plug on mom. So you need to give some real thought to not just naming somebody because you feel obligated to or they seem like the natural person, but taking a sincere and honest evaluation. Will this person be able to carry out these duties, and what will happen? Finally, be very careful of boilerplate. Just because someone hands you a standard form, there is no such thing as a standard living will. There is no other legal document you will sign in your entire life that is more personal and should be more tailored to what you want, not what some form says. A couple of quick examples. I don't want heroic measures if I'm terminally ill. Well, what's a heroic measure? To some people, a heroic measure may be feeding, some it may be hydration. For those with religious beliefs, denying food and hydration may be tantamount to murder, to starving someone to death. How do you feel about it? Those are questions you have to ask yourself, and it's not something your lawyer or estate planner can really ask for you. And another thing with the boilerplate provisions, what's a terminal illness? I mean, if you want to get philosophical, Elvis, this is important stuff. If you want to get philosophical, life itself is terminal. We all die eventually. So what is a terminal illness? And you want to really think through, is it something that you may have a 90% likelihood of dying within 6 months or less? And how rigid should those definitions be? So again, it's a vital document. Be very wary of boilerplate. Address your personal decisions, your wishes, religious issues, whether they're important or not. Don't ignore them. Address them head on. Give real thought to who you name as an agent. But most importantly, do that heartfelt searching so your document reflects what you want. Thank you for joining us.